I just want to jump right into it. It is November the 3rd, 2022. I want to apologize. Um, like I told you, I'm still learning all this stuff, and I can't wait till we get out of this room here and move into our living room that's going to be very comfortable sofa. You're going to see, you'll see, it's a big difference. It's a step up, but it won't be done until right at Christmas time because the construction has taken like 3 weeks right now. But hey, a lot happened yesterday. I mean, I know you all saw Joe Biden on his podium screaming, hollering at us people on the TV. I had to watch him because I just have to see this clown. But he was yelling and he was talking about democracy and how the Republicans, are doing nothing but talking about how the election is being stolen. Well, we're not saying the election is being stolen. Look, if you want to go back in time, all you have to do is go back and look at Stacey Abrams when she still hasn't admitted to losing, when she was running. And not only that, old Hillary Clinton. I saw her yesterday. I was like, good Lord, lady, you're going to go on TV, at least put something on your face. But she looked really rough. And, I could tell like she said, she must be having trouble sleeping at night. And good for her, because right now, as it stands, let me give you the actual numbers. So right now, as it stands for the vote, and remember, only a few days away now. So right now, according to 538 forecast, we have chances of controlling the House. We have 85 in 100 for Republicans, and we have 15 in 100 for Democrats. Now, that's for the House. Yay. Now, for the Senate, it's really tight. It's really close. For the Senate, we have 53 and 100 for the Republicans, for the conservatives, and we have 47 and 100 for the Democrats. So, believe me, things are getting very tight. Biden was out there screaming that, we're all screaming about the elections being stolen. We just want a fair election. That's all we're asking for. That's it. And, everything that this Biden administration has been doing nothing but catapulting them to the other side. In other words, it makes it look bad what they're doing. Let's face it, we haven't felt this in a very long time. And we can thank this to the Biden administration for everything that they've done. But look, we're going to go into that a little bit further. I want to share with you some information that came out yesterday that I applaud as well, because it has to do with, you guys, have you heard about this, how the dollar can now, well, I'll tell you something. Yesterday, U.S. Congressman Alex Mooney, who is a Republican from West Virginia, introduced a bill called the Gold Standard Restoration Act, the H.R. 9157. Write that down. H.R. 9157, because what that bill does is it stipulates that the U.S. dollar must be backed by physical gold owned by the U.S. Treasury, and that the initiative clearly indicates that the increasing inflationary U.S. dollar is triggering efforts to get better money. So, let me make this in perspective. It should be noted that there have already been many legislative changes to make precious metals more attractive as a means of payment in the past recent years. And in many U.S. states, the value added and the capital gains taxes on gold and silver and platinum and palladium, precious metals and all, have been abolished. And Mr. Mooney's proposal is divided into 3 sections. And let me share these with you. The first section of the bill establishes the need for a return to a gold-backed U.S. dollar. Now, let me tell you something, folks. President Trump was already in the process of having this done before he was non-elected, right? So he was actually in the process of taking us back to the gold standard, because there's not anybody that loves gold as much as I do as President Trump. President Trump, he would have the streets paved with gold if he could. And he accepted gold as payments for a lot of things that were owed to him as well, I know. So let me give you an example. It said that the U.S. dollar, or more precisely, the bill, refers to Federal Reserve notes. Now, if you look on your dollar bill or any bill, you'll see that it says Federal Reserve notes. So that's what they're implying to, okay? So that is the banknote that's issued by the Federal Reserve and has lost its purchasing power on a massive scale. Remember, I've always said that the purchasing power of our dollar is being destroyed right in front of our faces, and a lot of us aren't even paying attention to it. So let me share this with you. It's lost purchasing power on a massive scale in the past, and since 2000, it has dropped by 30%. Now listen to this. And since by 1913, by 97%. So the bill also argues that with an inflation target of 2%, the Fed will not preserve the purchasing power of the U.S. dollar, but will have it halved in two after just 35 years. Moreover, the bill points out that it is in the interest of the U.S. citizens and firms to have a stable U.S. dollar. And the bill actually highlights that the inflationary U.S. dollar that's been eroding the industrial base of the U.S. economy and enriching the owners of financial assets while endangering workers' jobs, wages, and savings. And the second section of this bill describes in more detail the technical process for re-anchoring the U.S. dollar to the U.S. gold official gold index. Now, let me explain this to you. So it states that, number one, that the U.S. Secretary of Treasury must define the U.S. dollar banknote using a fixed gold weight 30 days after the law goes into effect, based on the closing price of the gold of that day. In other words, so whatever the spot value of the gold price is of that day, the Treasury must define the U.S. banknotes using a fixed fine gold weight during 30 days after the law goes into effect, based on the price of closing of the gold of that day. All right. And number two, the Fed must ensure that the U.S. banknotes are redeemable. Listen to this, folks, that they're redeemable for physical gold at the designated rate at the Fed. And number three, if the banks of the Fed system fail to comply, if the banks of the Fed system, meaning Bank of America, JP Morgan Chase, all the different banks, if they fail to comply with people's exchange requests, in other words, I'm going over to Chase Bank and I'm going to say, Chase Bank, here's $100. I want $100 in gold. I'm taking my dollars and I'm turning them into gold. And if Bank of America or JP Morgan Chase declines and they fail to comply with the people's exchange, then the exchanges must be made by the U.S. Treasury, and in return, the Treasury takes the Fed's bank's assets as collateral. Wow. Don't you love that? No, this is great. This is America. Like Joe Biden said, folks, this is America. Well, I know. You don't have to keep telling me. He needs to know it's America. That's what he needs to know. He keeps forgetting. He forgets. Folks, this is America. Listen, the third section specifies how a fair gold price in U.S. dollar can develop in an orderly manner within 30 days after the bill has taken effect. Notice he wants everything 30 days after this bill is approved. So we're not talking about something that goes months down the road. We're talking now, 30 days. So to this end, number one, the U.S. Treasury and the Fed must publish all of their gold holdings. In other words, they can't hold anything back, like disclosing purchases from sales, from swaps, from leases, and all other gold transactions that have taken place since the temporary suspension and the redeemability of the U.S. dollar into gold on August the 15th, 1971, under the Bretton Woods Agreement of 1944. If you really want to see something cool, Google Bretton, B-R-E-T-T-O-N, Woods Agreement of 1944. Maybe I'll talk about that later. But anyway, in addition, on number two, the U.S. Treasury and the Fed must publicly disclose all gold redemptions and transfers in the 10 years preceding the temporary suspension of the U.S. dollar's gold redemption obligation of August 15th of 1971. So let me tell you what you make of this. The bill's core is the idea of re-anchoring the U.S. dollar to physical gold based on a fair gold price that's freely determined by the markets. Fair enough? Fair enough, right? So by this way, this is an idea that's put forth by the economist Ludwig von Mises from 1881 to 1973. That's another interesting individual. You should check him out. Ludwig, L-U-D-W-I-G, von Mises, M-I-S-E-S. Google it. Read it. It's really interesting, this gentleman. And in the early 1950s. And in this context, the bill refers to banknotes. However, banknotes only comprise a fractional part of the total U.S. dollar money supply. So, you know, you have money supply number one, you have number supply. Remember, it's only a fractional part of the U.S. dollar money supply. But since the U.S. bank's deposits can be redeemed, at least in principle, in U.S. banknotes, not only U.S. dollars like cash, coins, and notes, they can be exchanged for gold, but also the money supply like M1 or M2, as fixed savings deposit could be exchanged for what we call sight deposits. And sight deposits, in turn, could be withdrawn in cash by customers, and then these banknotes could then be exchanged for gold at the Fed. So as of August of 2022, the stock of the U.S. cash, listen to this, currency that's in circulation amounted to $2.276.3 billion. That's the amount of, that's kind of scary, isn't it? That's our debt. Oh, I remember we talked about the debt yesterday with the deficit, the global deficit of being 2.5 quadrillion. So the currency that is in circulation amounted to 2.2 billion. And that's assuming, listen to this, you guys, that's assuming that the official physical gold holdings of the U.S. Treasury amount to 261.5 million troy ounces. 261.5 million troy ounces. And the market expected U.S. cash to be backed by the official U.S. gold stock of about 8,700 per troy ounce would be the result. So let me share that again with you. Assuming that the official physical gold holdings of the U.S. Treasury amount to 261.5 million troy ounces, and the market expected U.S. cash to be backed by the official U.S. gold stock. You understand what I'm talking about, right? Yeah. So that gold, the gold that the Treasury is holding amounts to 261.5 million troy ounces, and the market accepted the U.S. cash to be backed by the U.S. gold. that means that a gold price of about 8,700 per troy ounce would result out of that. Wow, that's big. That's why we talk about getting gold now when it's at such a low price. And remember, silver is just right down the neighborhood. It's the sister to gold, so she's just waiting to go up with gold. So now listen, that would correspond to 418% increase compared to the current gold price of $1,680. If, however, the market were to expect the entire U.S. money supply, meaning M2, so now you got M1 and M2, to be covered by the official U.S. gold stock, then the price of gold would move toward $83,000 per troy ounce. Did you hear me? I'm going to repeat it one more time. If the entire U.S. money supply, M1, M2, were to be covered by the official U.S. gold stock, then the price of gold would move toward $83,000 per troy ounce. That's an increase of 4.840% compared to the current gold prices right now. Needless to say, such an appreciation of gold has far-reaching consequences. And this is why we tell you, look, this is why I'm like, look, if digital air can be worth, remember at one time 60,000, 50,000, now it's down to 20,000. Yeah, if it can be worth digital air, then think about what something real can become worth, and that's what I've been talking about. My hat's off to Mooney. So a re-anchoring of the U.S. official gold stock will result in a far-reaching redistribution of income and wealth. And in fact, it would be fatal for the outstanding U.S. dollar debt. And U.S. dollar good prices would then rise. And wealth, in fact, would be fatal for the outstanding U.S. dollar debt. And U.S. dollar goods would rise, caused by a rise in the U.S. dollar gold price, at which the U.S. dollar is redeemable for physical gold, thereby eroding the U.S. dollar's purchasing power. And in the foreign exchange market, the U.S. dollar would probably appreciate drastically against those currencies that are not backed by gold, and against currencies which are backed by gold, not as fine compared to the fineness of the gold backing of the U.S. dollar. So the purchasing power of the U.S. dollar abroad would do what? It would increase. It would increase. So while the U.S. export economy, the U.S. export economy would then suffer. So U.S. goods would become correspondingly expensive abroad, while foreign companies gain high price competitiveness in the United States market. So once the U.S. dollar has re-anchored in gold, today's chronic inflation like we have right now, and I say chronic with a heavy word, will end. There would be no inflation. Monetary policy induced boom and bust cycles, guess what? Will come to an end. There will be no more any of that. And the world will become more peaceful, because financing a war in a gold-backed monetary system would be very expensive. And the general public will most likely not want to bear its cost. However, there is still room for improvement. And a gold standard restoration act will deserve unconstitutional support if and when it paves the way toward a true, free market for our economy. And a free market in money means that you and I have the freedom to choose the kind of money we believe serves our purpose at best. And the people are free to offer their fellow human beings a good that voluntarily chooses to use the money. Why is that thing going off and on? I have no idea. Anyway, so in a truly free market, people will choose the good that they want to use as money. So that said, let us hope that the Gold Standard Restoration Act proposed by Mr. Mooney will pave the way for us to reforming the U.S. dollar's currency system, and that it will eventually move us toward a free, truly free market in money. And this is one thing this is my, I guess like Laura says, her angle. This is my angle this morning, because it's so important that we vote, because you understand this right here could could end a lot of the mishaps, the chronic inflation, all of the things that are happening right now. So, this is why it's important that you get yourself. That's why we talk about just getting a little bit of silver, get a little bit of gold. If you can, I've got guys that are doing millions of dollars. I've got guys that are doing hundreds of dollars. Whatever you can do it, because you're going to have this to be able to fall back onto when things like this happen. And let's say it doesn't even happen, that this bill doesn't get passed. Well, guess what? Doesn't matter. Gold prices and silver prices are going to escalate anyway, because when the bottom drops out of the dollar, you can bet your bottom dollar that the bottom is going to rise in gold and silver. Gold and silver prices are going to escalate. You guys got anything you want to say?
I think it would be great for our economy to go back to some kind of gold standard, because that would actually encourage people to save money. Okay, the way our system works now, you're really disencouraged from saving money, because you're making less than the inflation rate, and with constant inflation, your money's being devalued over the years. So you saw like 98% over the last 50 years or whatever. So it would encourage people to actually save money, and because your money would hold on to its value, and maybe even increase its value over time. And I think that would be great for people, because people feel like the only way they could protect their wealth now is to go into the stock market, or they make a risky real estate investment. And the country was founded on the values of saving, of hard work, of producing more than you consume. And everybody could have the power to do that. They could control their consumption, and they could see their savings grow. And that was actually the case. I think up until like 1900, if you could save money and your money was actually worth more. We actually had deflation, not major like in a depression, but we had gradual deflation. So your assets become more valuable, right? So I think it's a great step. I hope it can go through. Of course, I think there's going to be a lot of resistance from the powers that be that want to keep the system now. See, fiat money lets the government basically do whatever they want. They have the power to do whatever they want, and you don't. You have to follow their rules. You have to follow their system. Fiat money gives them all the power in the world to do whatever they want. And they, of course, they're going to want to hold on to that. They're not going to let go of that, man. They're putting an iron vice grip. They don't want to let go of that power. That's the main power they have.
Well, let me show you who they use for power right now. Let me show you something here. And then let's comment on this, because, according to, this was some pretty stout words that Biden was using. He says that his dumpster fire economy works for everybody. His dumpster. Now, don't take it just my word. It's all over. It's all over YouTube. It's a Wall Street Journal. It's a Washington Post. It's everywhere. But watch this video, and then let's talk about this. All right, watch this.
Economy that works for everybody. Through bold actions like this one, we're taking that vision to reality. This is what it looks like when America comes together to get something done.
So, can you believe that? So Biden basically is stating that his policies are working. His policies are working. I was listening to him. Like I said, I was listening to him yesterday, and I'm like, my God, this guy is out of touch of reality. And it's a shame that these people that are behind him are allowing it to happen. It's just insane. So with Biden talking about, his economy is doing so well, I mean, come on, look at when he was talking about Social Security. He was bragging about how Social Security was so great, right?
They got a great increase, and that happened to just be a law that he made it sound like he increased the payments, but the law was you have to raise it according to inflation.
Exactly. Listen to this. Listen to this. Watch this now. Listen to this. Here we go. Listen to her. Well, she's not talking. What happened to her? Well, the video's down right now. I don't know. No, it's not working. There we go. Anyway, so his press secretary, of course, deleted a misleading tweet about an increase in Social Security checks. And, Biden was toting about how he was so fantastic about it, and in that he was the one that caused the Social Security payment to go up. Well, that's not what caused Social Security payment to go up. And in fact, the White House was so embarrassed about it because they were flagged by several social media sites that they were posting it to, that they took it all down. And the reason they took it all down is because it was inflation that caused that to happen. And who caused inflation? Mr. Biden did. Yeah,
I mean, these are really desperate acts. Trying to take credit for something like that. That shows what a position of weakness they're in. What a position of desperation.
Right.
To even be trying to take credit for something like that, it shows you they're really scraping the bottom of the barrel.
That's right. No, it's so true. I mean, there's so many things that are going on right now. And this is why Jim Jordan, I don't know if you all heard this, but Jim Jordan actually has sent out a release. This was a press release that came over the wire last night or yesterday, and Republican Representative Jim Jordan, Republican of Ohio, actually the top Republican to the House Judiciary Committee, sent notices to the Justice Department and the FBI on Wednesday, effectively previewing investigations into the agencies that committed plans to conduct should the Republicans take the majority. So they're ready. They're ready to drain the swamp, that's for sure. And the notice that was first obtained by Breitbart News were addressed to Attorney General Merrick Garland. Oh, I can't wait. I just can't wait. It's like a soap opera. I'm waiting to see what ends up coming from all of this. And that's why they're desperate right now, because they know they're going to get caught with their hands in the cookie jar. But listen, right?
Yeah.
So Merrick Garland and FBI Director Christopher Wray, another scumbag, and each included an appendix of outstanding requests accumulated over the past few years. And let me tell you, the appendix served as de facto's list of items that the DOJ and the FBI could expect a Republican-controlled Judiciary Committee to pursue next year. They're going to be on this right away. And Jim Jordan's office confirmed that Breitbart News noting the list were not exhaustive. And here's how the letter it goes out. It says, efforts to identify. This is what they're going to. This is what they're doing. Efforts to identify and prosecute individuals involved in the assault of Mr. Andy Ngo and other journalists. Because they really went down on anyone that spoke of anything. Raids on Project Veritas employees. Wow. Right? Well, Project Veritas caught those people red-handed in lies.
They also covered. They got that.
All that stuff. Listen to what else they're doing. The department's new. Listen to this, Rob. The department's new domestic terrorism unit and its possible targeting of concerned parents at local school board meetings.
Oh my goodness.
Termination of the Trump-era China initiative. Destructive riots in Portland, Oregon in the summer of 2020. Remember, they even went after the police station, took the police out of the station.
Yeah.
That shouldn't have
That was
happened.
going on for like 2 months.
And Portland just let it happen.
Yeah.
Mayor was like,
Yeah, right.
they wanted it to happen.
Yeah, our good friend Nancy Pelosi was comparing the police.
Oh yeah,
Remember, she compared them to the Gestapo.
couldn't believe it.
Nancy, that's on record. That's what you did.
Oh yeah, no, she did. And not only that, the harassment and the intimidated campaign that took place outside the Supreme Court justice's home. Right? The raid on former President Trump's Mar-a-Lago residence. Enforcement of the Freedom of Access to Clinic Entrance Act. And the letter to the FBI sought information related to several instances of alleged politicization and bias within the FBI, which concern numerous whistleblowers that have approached Jordan about this year. And the letter requested information about, ready for this? The FBI's investigation into pipe bombs that were placed near the Republican National Committee and the Democratic National Committee the night before the January 6th Capitol riot. Nearly 3.4 million persons queries made using a database of information that is collected through the Foreign Surveillance Intelligence Services, known as FISA, and collected without the requirement of warrant. Surveillance Intelligence Services, the FBI's secure work environment that it ran for years within the Democratic law firm Perkins and Cole, which became notorious for pursuing loosening election laws. Allegations that FBI officials attempted to inflate domestic violent extremism case numbers. The raid on former President Trump's Mar-a-Lago residence, and FBI investigations into the January 6th Capitol riot. So we know that Republicans are heavily favored to win the House and win the House majority this next Tuesday. So this oversight now that's going on, these are all things that Jim Jordan is prepared to start investigating. So you can understand why they do not want to lose this election. A lot of stuff is going to come out. And that's why I said,
Be ugly.
I cannot wait. I want to see them explain their reactions to all of this stuff, right? There's got to be some.
You know, when did all this become extremely corrupt? When did people start losing their morals and their values? Right? Like, when did that start?
Yeah.
Right? What caused it? Right? Because it's just atrocious. What's that?
I think it started in the 60s. And Ray Dalio talks about this a lot about the different cycles in a civilization. And towards the decline of the civilization, which is really what we're in now in the United States, there's a decline in moral values. We talked about it very, very often here, the debasement of the currency. That happens almost in every, back then they used to take the silver coins and mix them with copper, right?
Yeah.
And
steel penny. I remember the steel penny.
Yeah, they used to debase the currency, and then there's a huge explosion of debt, and often from wars that the country gets overextended in certain wars or military campaigns.
Right.
And then we end up with the situation where the society is basically just falling apart. And that's when there's a regeneration and a rebirth, and that's kind of really what we're really trying to tap into. That we need a rebirth in this country, a regeneration, and return to the values that made this country prosper, right? And I think
Andy,
sound money is a very, very big part of that.
I'll tell you something. It's getting so bad out there. What's your views? Let me ask you this. What's your views on the Washington Post?
They're trash. You can't trust.
Very conservative, right?
Yeah.
Well,
Let
me just take a minute with you and share something with you. So, Washington Post columnist George Will called on both President Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris to not seek the White House in a scathing piece that was done yesterday, calling them unfit for the office.
There you go.
Now, this is Washington Post. Now, let me
George Will is very strong
He's
an
a
anti-Trump,
conservative.
but he's anti-Trump though.
Right. He's known for his staunch opposition to Donald Trump.
Yeah.
And he was unsparing when he was writing that Biden is not just past his time, that Biden is not just past his prime, but even adequacy in his path. Of Harris, he wrote her style betrays a self-satisfied exaggeration of aptitude. Wow. And lacking natural talent. And that she needs to prepare but eventually doesn't. And Will voted for Biden actually in 2020, the first time he had ever supported a Democrat, but he wants a new candidate now.
George, that's very, very sad.
But for him to write about, I bet they don't say a whole lot about that, do they?
You look at like everybody that voted for Joe Biden in 2020, they were individuals who were either jealous, disgusted at Trump, who felt offended by his political stance, the way he moves and operates, and his tweets, right?
Those tweets.
But those individuals really see where we're at right now as a whole, as a country. They're probably smacking themselves in the back of the head for, voting for Biden.
All right, so I'm going to turn the tables now on another person that's not well liked in the United States, and his name is Anthony Fauci. Anthony Fauci. And Anthony Fauci,
this guy's a serial killer.
Along with, don't say that. It's not. He's not a serial. Listen, along with other things.
He's not a serial killer.
No, we don't even. I'm going to cover all that out. Yeah, along with other things, is he and a lot of his colleagues are now going to be deposed in Missouri, and I want to share something with you. I want to share something with you. Watch this.
Would you be willing to submit to Congress and the public a financial disclosure that includes your past and current investments? After all, your colleague, Dr. Walensky, and every member of Congress submits a financial disclosure that includes their investments.
Wait a minute. Let's start this over. I want you all to see this. Hold on.
Would you be willing to submit
Hold
to
on. We're going to start this all over again.
Talking?
Clown show.
As the highest paid employee in the entire federal government, yes or no, would you be willing to submit to Congress and the public a financial disclosure that includes your past and current investments? After all, your colleague, Dr. Walensky, and every member of Congress submits a financial disclosure that includes their investments.
Look at these increases.
Where would we find it?
All you have to do is ask for it. You're so misinformed. It's extraordinary.
Why am I misinformed? This is a huge issue. Wouldn't you agree with me that you see things before members of Congress would see them, so that there's an air of appearance that maybe some shenanigans are going on? I don't think that's. I assume that's not the case.
What are you talking about?
The case.
My financial disclosures are public knowledge and have been so, you are getting amazingly wrong information.
Senator Marshall, Dr. Fauci has answered you. It is public information, and he's happy to give it to you if you would ask. Senator Moran.
Wow. That was reported to us from the Washington Examiner, and now a court approved a request Friday to depose Dr. Anthony Fauci, which it's going to be interesting because not only him, Bechet, whatever his name is, the Surgeon General for the White House, he's being deposed. There's a bunch of them that's actually going to be deposed now. So we're going to get to the bottom of this. And honestly, if he made that kind of money off of the people by us having to suffer by being locked up and all these different things while Florida was free-spirited and open, everything was running well over there, and it's still running well over there, this guy needs to be locked up, I think. Something needs to happen to Fauci. He needs to be fined. He needs to have his surgeon. He needs to have his license taken away. He needs to be taken away from the NIH board. It's a lot of things. Fauci has done a lot of stuff to cause us a lot of burden, I think.
Yeah, I think he needs to be locked up. I think he is liable, I think, for the deaths of many, many people. I'll say that clearly.
A lot of people died. And, it's interesting.
And his promotion of remdesivir as the only treatment that was allowed.
Andy, think about this.
Led to a lot of deaths.
No, I agree. But think about this. Where we were 2 years ago. Right? And then as soon as they stopped taking us off the mask, everything got better, didn't it? Like COVID just disappeared. But yet, and there is such a thing called flu. And there are flu cases, a lot of flu cases going around right now. But you don't see those COVID pop-up tents all over the place anymore, anything like that. It was a way, in my opinion, it was a way to change the government. It was the change of arms for the government, is what it looked like to me. That's just my opinion. I mean, in my opinion, that's just me, because it sure did happen. Everything happened when COVID came in. We lost our president, our great country that was thriving, that was doing great. Our gasoline prices were down. We had no thing called inflation. Stock market was booming. Everything was going well. Gold prices were selling well. Everything was up and running. And then when this new administration came in, everything started falling. The day after. And that man, President Trump, literally stated that this was going to happen when he left. And sure enough, it's happening. Your 401ks, you've lost a large percentage of your 401ks. Only the rich get richer and the poorer get poorer. Remember that. It's very, very true. Look, I want to share something else with you. We talked about this the other day, but burn it down Facebook, Meta, right now, their stock is down more than 70% right now. And it's lost over $800 billion of its market cap. And CNBC reported that Facebook fell from a 52-week high of $353 per share to $90.2 per share.
I think even at one point it was at 380 or 390.
So these people I talked to that had these Facebook shares, and they're like, I want to keep my Facebook shares. What is it down to now, Rob?
Oh, yeah, it's down 75.
It's down even more now. So 75% now. But I talked to these people, and they're like, well, I want to keep my Facebook shares.
Jim Cramer told me to buy Facebook.
Yeah.
Jim Cramer told me to buy the FANG stock.
And now they got nothing, right? So yeah. So and let me tell you, last summer Facebook's market cap was nearly $1 trillion, and now it's closer to $245 billion. down over. Well, now it's even more because it's down over 75% right now. So this is why it's very risky when you're playing in the stock market. Hey, I want to show another video that really it has me interested because Julian Assange, I was told like this guy was treason, that's why he had to leave the country so that he wouldn't get locked up, put into the federal penitentiary. I want to share this video with you, and then I want to get you guys' thoughts on this. All right, hold on, watch this. I don't know what's going on. I think that I don't know what's going on. This is crazy. Some videos work, some videos don't. Anyway, the story goes that Pompeo was literally doing a show, like was talking in front of a green screen, and this server came up and served him, and they're suing him now. The CIA, Pompeo and the CIA are being sued for spying on lawyers and journalists at the Ecuadorian embassy. Yes, this is, and it's like, why, how are you? I don't get it. Why Pompeo? Is it because Pompeo's coming out and speaking? I don't know what it is.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure where this is coming from. I mean, CIA spying on people, that's what they do.
Right?
There's no surprise there. And I think Assange, I think he should be pardoned. I think he was releasing information, and obviously it made the government look bad. But I think what he was doing ultimately was in the spirit of transparency and freedom of information.
Hey, I want to get away from that as well, and talking about information. There was a Texas, I talk a lot about these schools, and the reason I talk about this, there was a school. This is one of these early entry schools, like for kids that are just getting prepared to go into like kindergarten and onward. So this Texas preschool teacher, she was arrested after 4 children she exposed to THC and they were actually hospitalized on Halloween. She had like, I guess brownies or something is what she exposed these kids to. But Anisha Burks, 35, allegedly, she was arrested on counts of injury to a child and possession of a controlled substance after 4 children at Primrose School of Prosper displayed unusual symptoms of illness and were hospitalized. How much of this is going to keep going on? How many of these schools and this is what we're talking about. This is why it's so important to get out and vote. We need to change the way things are done. I think that teachers should be vetted better in these schools, is what I think. Because when you're putting your 2-year-old, your 3-year-old, your 4-year-old into a school to prepare them to go into another school, if they're traumatized by that early school, guess what? They're not going to want to go to the other school. Robert, am I right?
No, you're 100% correct. I was just reading that report. She gave them THC gummies.
Yeah,
and there were
gummies. Okay,
gummies. Yeah, they were 2 years old.
It's crazy.
2 years old. That's insane.
I mean, why would she do such a thing?
And apparently they got sick. They started vomiting, throwing up, hallucinating. That's some real fucked up shit.
Bad.
Terrible.
Hey, we were talking about how the mortgage, we were talking about mortgages and how much houses are costing now. So, prices are down, mortgages are up. So, and we were talking about Wells Fargo laying off.
Right.
So Open Door now is laying off about 550 employees of its 18% of its workforce. And they too, and this is their real estate technology company, which is one of the many property technology companies that have had to lay off workers in 2022. So remember, you're going to see more and more of this as we go on with this. All right. I wanna bring some good stuff. I saw this, and I know I got a lot of pet lovers out there like myself. So I want to share this. I sure hope that this video actually works. So let's try this, and I really hope it works.
Okay.
You kidding me? Who said that you're allowed to be this freaking cute? What is something that your dog does that you just don't even think twice about, but anytime anyone else sees it, it's kind of shocking or weird? I'll go first.
Oh my God! He's getting his manicure, his pedicure. What do you got? Oh, that's a pampered pooch right there. Romo likes massaging. Who wouldn't like that? Who wouldn't like that? Come on, wouldn't you want to be a dog? You know. Look at this one. The cat sees the dog is a scratching post. This is like probably sucking on him. Okay. Yeah, it feels good. Give me a massage. Look me right here. He's loving it. Or he's like, oh my God, this feels so good. Yeah. Give me more of that massage. I just had to show it. I thought that was fun. I loved it, you know. So anyway,
it's time for leadership.
Romo's down here laying down. So, all right. So we had the brain teaser yesterday.
I figured it out, by the way.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I figured it out. I did not look it up. What?
I got it off.
Oh.
Hey, once we get our everything going and we have our production team and everything, it'll be.
You know,
so
it's
much
funny.
fun. We're just so Mickey Mouse on this right now, beginners.
I started thinking about it last night, and I'm like,
You talking about the? You know,
yeah,
you.
No, I did not look at it. I did not look this up. I did not. Yeah, hand to God. My hand to God. I did not look this up. I just started thinking about it, and I felt like I was getting warm. I don't know. I just had this feeling like I was getting close, and then it clicked.
What is it?
Okay, say it again so everybody knows.
You tell me what it is.
What? There's a 5-letter word.
Now, what 5-letter word becomes shorter when you add 2 letters to it?
The word is short.
Yeah, exactly.
Shorter. Short becomes shorter. Get it? Yeah. So that short becomes shorter. So it's a little clever. With the thing with these, there's always a play on the meaning of the word.
All right, so here we go.
Well,
you're figuring it out now.
Yeah.
But you really had to use your brain.
I did have to think about it, and I was like, okay, well.
Hey, by the way, Rob, we're going to miss Rob tomorrow. He's going off he's taking his family, and they're going on their yearly vacation to Hawaii. Lucky him.
Nice.
So you're going to be stuck with me and Andy. So it'll be fun. It'll be a lot of fun.
Maybe we could bring in Rob on video. Maybe can we?
Oh my God! Could you imagine we try to do that while he's in Hawaii?
Yeah,
maybe we
can get him on a screen here.
How? We're gonna have to figure this out.
Yeah, we can figure it out. You can do it through Zoom, maybe.
But how do we bring you in on YouTube through Zoom?
I don't know.
Maybe we go to Zoom and then we
maybe ask Tasha.
Oh my God, maybe we could do that.
Yeah,
we'll figure something out.
Right? That would be like if we're at 8 o'clock, it'd be 5 o'clock there, right? So you'd be up. Yeah, you're up.
Or we could bring in another one of our brokers too. We could bring in Hunter. We could bring in. That'd be cool, Rob. You could show us how you're enjoying a beautiful yearly vacation in sunny Hawaii and got the beach behind you and all that.
Nice.
Hey, we'll be able to show that in about.
You'll be having your smoothie, right?
Oh yeah, my acai.
Acai. Oh my God. 80, 90 degree temperature while we're freezing our asses over here at 60 degrees in Los Angeles right now. Paddleboarding, my God. Hey, all right, here's a brainer for you. Ready?
All right.
I'm in the beginning of sorrow and at the end of sickness. You cannot express happiness without me. Yet I am in the midst of the crosses. I am always in risk and never in danger. You may find me in the sun, but I'm never out of darkness.
That was complicated. Gotta hear that one again. Let's hear that again.
All right. I'm in the beginning of sorrow and the end of sickness. You cannot express happiness without me yet. I am in the midst of crosses. I am always in the risk, yet never in danger. You may find me in the sun, but I'm never out of darkness.
Have to think about that.
It's a good one, huh? That's a tough one.
You know?
Aha!
Probably some riddle page. But
I'll give you. Oh. That's on the. We'll talk about that. That's a good one. That's a good call. Anyway, so I'll tell you what. I'm going to give the. I'm going to give you the answer to that one, and then we're going to go with another one.
I want to think about that one.
Okay, so I'm in the beginning of sorrow and the end of sickness. What letter am I?
Oh, letter.
I didn't hear that.
He never said. He didn't say it. He didn't say
I
it.
stumped you.
Huh?
You said, what am I?
No, I said I didn't say anything. I stumped you. I'm in the beginning of sorrow and the end of sickness. You cannot express happiness without me, yet I'm in the midst of crosses. I'm always in risk, yet never in danger. You may find me in the sun, but I'm never out of darkness. What letter am I?
S.
Yeah, that's right. Wow, Rob, you didn't have that one, did you?
That was easy.
I was too far
Now
out there.
when you said it was a letter.
All right, here we go.
Before, I'm like, what the hell is
How
this?
did you figure out that?
All right. I'm at the beginning of sorrow and at the end of darkness.
You see, he's S and S. All right, so an Arab sheik is old and must leave his fortune to one of his two sons. He makes a proposition. Both sons will ride their camels in a race, and whichever camel crosses the finish line last will win the fortune for its owner.
Last or first?
Whichever camel crosses the finish line last will win the fortune for its owner. During the race, the two brothers wander aimlessly for days, neither willing to cross the finish line. In desperation, they ask a wise man for advice. He tells them something. Then the brothers leap onto their camels and charge toward the finish line. What did the wise man say to the brothers?
Oh,
What is it?
your father died.
No. That's a tough one. This is really a tough one.
Okay, I got to take a little time.
According to statistics, only 2 out of 50 people get this one.
Oh, okay. So say it again. Say the whole
All right,
thing
one more
again.
time. One more time, then we're going to let this one go, and we'll see you tomorrow while Rob's off on a plane into Hawaii. An Arab sheik is old and must leave his fortune to one of his 2 sons. He makes a proposition. Both sons will ride the camel in a race, and whichever camel crosses the finish line last will win the fortune for its owner. Now, during the race, the 2 brothers wander aimlessly for days, neither willing to cross the finish line. And in desperation, they ask a wise man for advice, and he tells them something. Then the brothers leap onto the camels and charge toward the finish line. What did the wise man say? Okay, I can tell they're not going to get this one.
I'll get it. Just give me time. Sometimes they.
All right,
They don't come to
listen,
me right away.
it was great seeing you all again, talking to you all again. See you tomorrow. God bless every single one of you. Stay safe and vote.
I vote.